In this video, we are going to talk about crewing for hostile grinding, as well as crewing for armadas. Okay. First, we're going to start off by looking at a crew of Picard, Rare Beverly, and Chen. This crew is actually good for grinding hostiles of the type Battleship, Explore, and Survey. Just so you're aware, and I'll point this out inside the Assign Officer section, Beverly has an ability called Unshakable Moral Code, and this ability is based on the defense of all the officers on the ship. So 250% of all the defense of all officers on the ship. So this is one of the crew that you need to go ahead and stack this defense number here to make it more effective. Tom Paris also has a very similar ability, and that's also based on defense. So that's why I have him on this ship as well. With that said, one of the goals is to maximize this bonus here as high as possible. If you're not able to get all three of them maxed, you at least want to try to get health and then attack maxed. Okay, so just to repeat, this specific crew is good for battleships, explorers, and survey ships. Go ahead and look at our next crew. This particular crew here, not exactly the battleship itself, but this crew of Pike, Moreau, and Talon is a ship that is, or is the crew that you want to grind interceptors. So keep that in mind. This is a crew for interceptors. This specific crew does not have any abilities based on stacking any of these resources. Also, I want to point out that Pike and Moreau together, they have this synergy here, which increases Pike's ability with teaching moments. Generally, this is just 20%, or forgive me, 40%, but with Moreau, it adds an additional 80%. If you are trying to add ship XP and grind that out, you would definitely want to use the Pike Monroe crew, because Pike here increases ship XP earned by 40%. And that's depending on what level or tier that you actually have your officer at. Okay. Go on to our next crew, which is the Strange New World crew. Each of these officers have a different ability that is based on stacking either attack, defense, or health, and it is very specific to certain ships. For example, Strange New World Spock has heavy shields, but this is only if you're on an interceptor, or forgive me, this is if you're on an explorer and you're attacking a hostile interceptor. And it actually gives you an 18% increase in armor, shield, deflection, and dodge, which is massive. The other officer I want to talk about is Hemmer. He is good against survey ships. Now, I don't have him fully upgraded, so I'm only getting 1,000%, and his stack is based on health, where Spock's stack is based on defense. We also have two other officers in the Strange New Worlds crew. We have Erica Ortegas, which she is based on being on a battleship, attacking specifically explorers, and she has a health stack. Uhura has the same basic ability, but she is good for being on an interceptor that attacks battleships. So she's actually a decent one for attacking Borg probes. Now this crew with Strange New World Pike does give us a specific ability, Prepared for Anything. This, when fighting hostiles, Pike increases shield mitigation by 14%. So with some of these abilities from the side officers and the captain, this is a great hostile grinding ship or crew, and this particular crew can grind both survey ships and whatever officer you have on there on the side. So that's very valuable. Okay, next we're going to go into the Janeway crew. This is also a good hostile grinding crew, and we'll look at Janeway's ability. Red alert, raise shields. For each round that happens, you get 20% additional mitigation for one round, and that's cumulative. So with B'Elanna Torres and the Doctor on the side and the synergy, that adds more to that. B'Elanna Torres does have an ability that is stacked based on attack, stacking your attack, which increases your armor piercing, shield piercing, and accuracy by 250%. This is a pretty good ability, and it works against hostiles and armadas. So this can be used as an armada crew. Now the Doctor has another ability that's based on health, which Doctor increases your armor, shield, deflection, and dodge by 300%. So with this particular crew, you will need to stack both attack and health to get the full advantages when grinding hostiles or working on armadas. An alternative person you can add here to make this more effective for armadas would be 7 of 9, which adds critical damage by 100% and gives you this synergy. So that is another option. Next, we're going to talk about a regular armada crew. This regular armada crew is definitely good against the majority of types of armadas, particularly good against all armadas, with the exception of uncommon Cardassian armadas. It's still good against them, but it's not your best option. So having these three is very valuable against almost all armadas. Next, we're going to move into the Stella armadas. Stella armadas of all levels, you definitely want to have one of the Kirks, either the original series or this alternative Kelvin Kirk, and Spock. What this does is this will keep your shields up, which is a major thing when fighting against Eclipse armadas. Now, you definitely would like to have 5 of 11 in here, because she gives you 2 bonuses. One, she gives you 200% of your health stack for shield deflection, armor, and dodge, as well as increases the amount of resources you get by 60% based on hostiles. And armadas are also considered hostiles in the majority of cases. An alternative person you could put in here would be the rare Beverly Crusher, which also has the same mitigation stats as this. However, it's 250%, and it also has a shield regeneration ability. But still yet, this crew right here is the absolute best for the Eclipse armadas. And with this is a dual stack, so you want to stack your defense and you want to stack your health. Next, we're just going to explore another option as an Armada crew. Ideally, you would have the Doctor here to get the best abilities to utilize, and that would be a health stack. We'll look at 7 of 9. Her main officer ability increases your ship's critical hit damage by 100% versus Armadas. This is absolutely a very powerful benefit from 7 of 9. Now, on top of that, Chakotay, as your captain, increases the number of shots of your ship's weapons by 100% versus Armadas. So, for example, if this was on my pylon, instead of just the 8 shots that I would get off, I would get 16 off, and that would do basically twice the damage. In addition, you have the Marquis strike, which increases the critical hit chance by 12% for 2 rounds each time you hit a score, or basically each time you hit an attack. So this increases your chances of getting a critical, and this increases stack with this one, because what you're doing, you want to get the max synergy that you can for Dax. For one thing, this is all based on health. Both of these options here are based on health. You end up getting a 700% increase in shield piercing, armor piercing, and accuracy for your solo Armada, as well as a 300% increase in weapon damage against solo Armadas. Bashir's gives you the ability to increase your critical damage by 50% on solo Armadas, so that's a very powerful add-on. And then Odo gives you fluidic strength, which gives you a 50% increase in armor, shield deflection, and dodge. There are some ways that you could change things around and say have Jadzia as the captain, and you could have Kirk and Spock on the side, which does help you out in some of these scenarios. So you can do some mix and matching, but ideally you want to benefit from this synergy to increase this and get the max benefit. Now I'm going to go out and go back in to show you, to make sure it added the synergy. Now with the synergy, it actually doubles the amount of these different items here. So that's a massive hit and makes your solo Armada attack stronger on one of your ships. So those are just some options and things to make hostile grinding more efficient, more effective, and also how to handle different Armadas and Armada types. One additional thing I do want to point out, for uncommon Cardassian Armadas, you would want to use Pike and Moreau or Picard and Beverly with the officer of Gala. And the reason that is Gala blocks critical damage. So for the Cardassian uncommon Armadas, you need to have Gala in there. Ideally, at minimum, the leader who started the Armada will be running Gala. But if everyone has Gala on there, typically you don't receive any damage past the 8th round. So again, there's another tip on how to crew up for a very specific Armada type. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. In the Alliance right now, my name is The Late Shifter. I've also gone by other names like Darth Ruft. So if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out with questions. Thank you.